a couple of months before that, someone introduced me to gym. Someone introduced me to lifting weights. And I started realizing patterns, right? And I read this book called Mastery by George Leonard. He talks about this. So he talks about that every single thing that you do in your life is a skill set. And I realized, well, the only difference between me living with my parents with no skills and someone who is doing all the shit that I'm doing now is just skill sets. Simple fact, it's just skill set. If you learn enough, if you accumulate enough knowledge, if you apply yourself enough, you learn enough stuff, you can do whatever someone else has already done. And everything has been done. Everything you want to get done now, everything you want to learn, you want to get jacked, you want to get ripped, you want to start a business, you want to travel the world, that has already been done, right? You want to land on the moon, someone has already done that. So everything is practically done, whatever you want to do. So someone has done it before you. So the only thing you technically need to do is reverse engineer how that person got there. And that's super easy, right? So if you just have the right attitude, there's nothing that can stop you, right? Because someone has already done it. If I tell you, hey, you want to get ripped, you want to have a perfect looking body, dude, you can find people who have that. It's not hard. There's billions of people who have millions of people who have that, right? It's soon billions if my brand gets big enough. The reason why I'm here today wouldn't be because I just have one skill. So one underlying skill out of all these that I just mentioned to you guys that transformed my life, I just have one thing. It's one thing that separates me from the guy who's on the street right now begging for 2 levas with a dog in front of him. Just one skill. And that's because I'm consistent. I'm a persistent motherfucker, right? So if I want to do something, same with video games, same with everything, I was always the guy who was persistent as fuck. Nothing else. Not the fastest, not the best learning, not the most skilled, not the guy who had the most talent, pretty much no talent whatsoever. I've been lifting for 6 years. You probably don't even see that I lift. But I have the skill of consistency because I'm a persistent motherfucker. If I set a goal, I'm gonna go for it. And I'm not gonna stop. That's the only difference. And there is nothing more than that. If you really think about it, if you think what success is in any area of your life, 4 areas, health, business, social skills, purpose, there is nothing more than consistency. Because if you don't have consistency, everything else falls apart, right? Everything else, no matter what the fuck you have the best books, best programs, best plans, best teachers, best instructors, best people, best time, a lot of money, everything. If you don't have consistency, you're nothing. Like you're not gonna achieve anything in any one of area of your life, right? So before you can actually blame something else and say, hey, I don't have the right information are you taking consistent action, right? So that's the only thing that separates me from any other guy. And you see now that consistency with my YouTube channel because I said, hey, I'm gonna make a video every day for the next 5 years. I'm gonna fucking doing that, right? So like at 250 videos later, channel is now super big. They're same guys who are much more talented, much better English speakers than me. I didn't even know how to speak English in 2010, by the way. Like, I don't know if you guys, some of them don't realize that, right? I didn't know how to speak English properly, right? If you check my videos from 2014, I barely spoke English. So the idea is like, okay, what is the first skill I need to learn how to improve my English so I can actually understand the material, so I can learn the material and then take action. So there's barriers, there's always barriers, but the one thing that I want to emphasize here is consistency. That's talking about nutrition and training and all of this is useless. Like my words will be useless for you guys if you don't apply this. Like I'm wasting my time, you're wasting your time listening to me if you don't have the consistency. So consistency and adherence, following a plan, is the basis of everything. The best diet and the best workout plan was discovered 100 years ago. Like someone says, hey, if I just eat less and exercise more, I'm gonna be in better shape. Do you think something changed in the last 100 years? Fuck no. Nothing changed. We know that we just need to eat a little bit less, exercise a little bit more, you're gonna get in shape. Why do you think there's so many fat people? Not judging, obviously, a little bit, but I was fat, so I have the right. So why do you think there's so many fat people? There's no consistency with eating less and exercising more. Simple fact. People don't get fat overnight. I didn't get fat overnight. I was actually a quite skinny kid, but 10% more calories every day for 20 years made me fat. Same as 10% less calories would have made me ripped. So people don't get fat, they don't get successful, they don't get completely beat up overnight. It's an accumulation of bad choices day in, day out. So with you guys, whatever area of your life, if you're looking at it, so if you're not taking any action, you're actually going back. And if you're taking some action, you have a chance of going forward. So there's no standing still because time is working against you. Like all of you guys here, we're all going to be dead in about 60, 70 years. Some of us sooner, some of us later, depending on what Japanese discover, if they can prolong our life. But we're all going to be dead in 60, 70 years. Time is working against us. So we have the right road, even if you are on it, because you are on the right path, like all of you guys being here, you know about RSD, you know about self-improvement. That means that you know the right road. You know the road where you need to be. But if you're standing on it, you're going to get overrun. Doesn't change the fact you're the same as the average Joe who doesn't know about it, right? It's the same fucking shit if you're not taking any action. Same thing. So that's what I wanted to emphasize first here before I dive into any nutrition theory, before I dive into any questions, that the only thing that is like the precursor of all of this like mountain of knowledge here is your ability to take action consistently, right? Without that, like all of this here is, forget it. It's wasting your time. You're better off just admitting I'm going to be mediocre for the rest of my life. Fuck my life. Doesn't matter. Maybe in the next one if you believe in that, right? Because that's the reality, right? I'm not going to bullshit you guys. If I wasn't taking action, I would still be in that fucking basement. But that wasn't my goal. And if you are happy with that, if you are happy with that kind of life, that's cool. Nobody is judging you. But I'm sure that you have at least a little bit higher goals than that, right? So if you have higher goals, that's how you get to them. Consistency plus knowledge, right? So some soap and you just put it on the food and then it's clean. Or you take a shower at the same time when you're eating your chicken.
Well, I think clean food are just unprocessed food.
Is that true? Is whey protein clean? Is cottage cheese clean? What you need to understand is that first off, you don't want to violate any rules. So you want to have consistency, macros, and calories, right? So if you base those three things with your personal preference, there you have it. Most of the marketing is focused here on the top of the pyramid, on supplements, on like marketing, selling that shit to you. No marketing is focused on calories because it's not sexy. It's not marketable. There's no profit in it. There's no profit in telling people to eat less. It's actually more profit in telling people to eat more. Like it's insane. Everywhere I look, there's food. Like everywhere, it's being marketed. There's some ad for food. So if you look at it, there's so much marketing, billions of dollars spent on making you eat more. It's all about eating more. And that's where the problem arises. That's where we get fat because we're violating the consistency with calories. General tips when you're traveling about nutrition. First one is obviously mindfulness and awareness. If you're just YOLO mode, hey, I'm in a new country, just eat whatever the fuck I want, you're gonna get fat very fast. Because exercise is not there, your habits are not there, there's an abundance of energy-dense food, very high calorie, like if you go to Spain, Italy, or some like pizzas and cheese, you're fucked, right? So a lot of calories are coming in. So mindfulness is the key, really. Like eating food, if you've been dieting for a while, you're gonna get into this mode where food is just like, oh, I just wanna get fucking good, we wanna eat food, right? But you wanna actually slow down a little bit and try to enjoy the food, right? Being mindful is really about enjoying the food. And there's this rule, like Americans will eat until they feel full. Healthy Japanese people will eat until they no longer feel hungry. You see the difference here? And the population that is overweight, you can guess which one, right? By the time you feel full, you can eat a fucking pig. Like I can eat like 2 pizzas and I'm like, am I full? Yeah, you can have an ice cream. I actually tested this, right? Like if you're unlucky like me, you definitely need to slow down the process of eating so you can actually like see, okay, am I full? Am I hungry anymore? Like realistically, or am I just eating like a pig without thinking about it? So the first one is mindfulness, right? Being extremely mindful, knowing, am I hungry or not, right? Or am I just eating to eat? Second thing is focusing really on unprocessed whole foods. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you go very high energy density, it's very hard to track. Like it becomes a pain in the ass. If you overeat on apples and on chicken breast, I mean, it's unlikely that you're gonna eat so many calories that you're gonna blow your diet, because there's not enough calories in that food. It's low energy density. But if you overeat on Snickers and hamburgers, it's very, very fast compounds into a lot of calories. And the third point, I mean, would be to be active, right? Walk a lot, actually have things to do in the city aside from trying food. And I see this like happen all the time, because I've been traveling for the last 5 years, and I think most people travel to eat. Like, honestly, I think most people travel to eat. Like, they just go to Italy, they just go to Spain to eat food. They don't even fucking see the buildings, they don't see the activities, they don't do anything in the city, but their travel plans are a list of restaurants. That's what most people do. That's why most people are overweight and have an issue with this. Because their sole purpose of travel is food. Why not try to do something fun? Like, why are you in Spain? The research shows that it is not as important as consistency, macros, and calories. So that's the underlying principle. But there is some evidence showing that if you have protein 1 to 2 hours before or after training, you will optimize a little bit more for gaining muscle mass, especially if you're training fasted, right? So it's not important if you're training in the evening where you had a meal like 2 hours before. That meal is still going to be digesting, but you do want to get some food within an hour or two of training. You know, it's not that complicated to get something. It's not much to ask. But do you need to run straight after your last set and break a leg while you're running to your locker room to get a protein shake? No. All right? Like, that's what we used to do. I had my protein shake, like I was mixing the protein shake, this last set of curls. It's like eating window, like bam, I got it. You know, in the second, anabolic window, I gotta get those gains, right? It's not that important, right? So you don't need to kill yourself to get the protein shake, right?